Hey, how we doing, guys?
Hey guys, welcome back.
Joe here.
Kevin.
So the last episode of The West Wing was a really, really fun episode.
I loved it. I love the fact that they didn't kind of hide from like, hey, it's Thanksgiving. Now let's talk about the horrible things that have happened in the name of American awesomeness around
And
Thanksgiving.
it's weird to say that it was a fun episode, but it ended up being a lot of fun.
It did, yeah.
It was educational, but also at the same time it had a light tone to it.
It did, right.
As light as you can get.
Right. Well, I mean, we've had stakes on this show where like
Yeah.
huge numbers of lives are in the balance. So, yeah, there were things that needed to be dealt with. It was another great CJ episode. And man, I can't say enough about those. I know Alice and Janie, people have let us know, and I think I looked it up right when we started with trying to be not spoilery.
Mhm.
I think she was cleaning house at the Emmys, like year after year on
Her
the
and Steve
show.
Falco.
Yeah, exactly. I think she bounced. I think she was considered supporting for this show sometimes, and considered lead
Mm.
sometimes. So I don't know if her role grows as the series progress. I don't know what the time frame was on when she
Sure.
was one or the other. We don't know. We're just in the
I would
third
assume
season.
this is around the time she became the lead. And I would feel
Considered
like
considered a leading
Stockard
actress.
Channing is
Yeah.
her supporting actress this season.
Oh, for sure.
You know,
Yeah, absolutely.
or Donna.
Yeah, and I love the fact that like I don't know if this is intentional, but it kind of feels like when Mandy was written off the show, that we've got like the same amount of time devoted to the female characters.
Mm.
We just divvied it up among those three you mentioned right there a little bit more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like Mandy's gone, but we're not going to take away a female voice. We're just going to give more time to CJ and to Stockard Channing and especially to Donna. Right?
Yeah.
Donna's importance on the show really grew after Mandy left.
I don't know when the whole Aaron Sorkin can't write women thing started.
Right.
I would imagine it's probably around the first season of The West Wing, but it definitely feels like they're aware of it and they've
Right.
been trying hard to make amends to.
Yeah.
Because I would say that C.J. Craig is one of his best characters.
Sure. Yeah. I feel like it you know, I've heard that forever.
Sure.
And I didn't see in his films and
Social Network aside, you know.
absolutely. But I feel like, you know, when you look at like Steve Jobs,
Sure.
you know, and obviously Molly's Game, you know,
I mean, Jessica Chastain is the lead in that film.
Right.
You know, it's about her.
yeah. I mean, I get you can say it if you like go back to like A Few Good Men.
Mhm.
I can see why that Demi Moore was a little problematic in that for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So I rewatched that last week,
Really?
and I was kind of doing some just like I watched it on Prime,
Sure.
so there's no special features. I went back to the special features, and I was watching it on YouTube, and all the actors, all the cast was in there talking about like how great the role is, and Rob Reiner talks about it. And then it gets to Rob Reiner, he's literally like, he said, "Here's the thing about Demi Moore, she had to audition for this movie."
Really?
Like, and he talks about everybody, how great they were, how they were intended to be in the movie, and then he gets to Demi Moore, and that's the only thing he had to say.
So he didn't really want to work with her.
I don't know if it was that, or I mean, like, because she is, I hate to say it, one of the weaker parts of the film.
No, she is, and maybe people are blaming the writing, and they shouldn't. I don't know. I agree that she. I mean,
It's a bad.
it is. Well, I don't know that she. You know, outside of a few things, like I thought she was great in Ghost, but I feel like that part was tailor written for her.
Sure.
And I'm not here to bash on Demi Moore. I have
No.
I have no issue with Demi
Love
Moore.
G.I. Jane.
Yeah, exactly. I did too, more than I thought
It's a
I
lot
was
of
going
fun.
to. It is,
Yeah.
but it might not be the writing. You know what I mean? It might have been written
Yeah.
for someone because however you feel about her, she did not have the gravitas to match up with Nicholson and Cruz, right?
Yeah.
She didn't have the screen presence or the charisma to match those guys. So maybe that was a bit of a misstep as far as casting. You know, not to knock her, but sometimes you just get put in the wrong role.
Sure.
Or maybe the writing's a little bit off.
I feel a bit of both.
Sure.
Honestly, yeah.
I certainly feel like Alice and Janie in this show and Stockard Channing, and I always forget the actress' name who plays Donna. Janelle Maloney, right? I think that's right.
Mhm.
I feel like they bring gravitas to their roles. I feel like they match them
fantastic.
in. Yeah, I feel like they match them in as far as presence. In this kind of show, you need it easily, right? And we're talking about really, really strong male actors,
Yeah.
and these ladies really match the presence of those guys.
They do, and you don't see them as like a supporting actress. You see them as part of the ensemble, and in
Right.
many ways, they stick out. Like we've gotten more of CJ than we have of Toby this season.
Yeah, and with a few exceptions of a few things people have said, and there have been a couple of things like I get some of the writing is like
In season one, sure,
right,
you know,
yeah, there
it
was
gets
some
better.
time, and Mandy was kind of a punching bag just based on the role that she was asked to play for sure.
Yeah, it's not the actress's fault.
Right, no, I don't think so either. I just think she was written to be a foil for Josh.
I think so too.
And it just it just didn't pan out. And it's kind of ironic because we're talking about this, and I can see the name of the episode is "The Women of Kumar." So
That is wow.
yeah,
I didn't even notice that.
I did. While we were talking, it's like, oh man, we're starting to talk about the ladies, and the name of the episode is "The Women of Kumar."
Well, we should even shout out Joey Lucas. Joey Lucas is fantastic.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm blanking on the Academy Award-winning actress' name who plays her, Marley Matlin.
Matlin, yeah.
Who is obviously great. So I mean, I've had no problem for the most part, except for a few lines here and there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of when the two old guys are talking, the president and Leo, I feel like sometimes some of the things they say come across as a little sexist,
a little bit,
but
sometimes.
But I'm not bothered by that. Because it's not it's not exactly it's not the writer's job to make every character a perfect person. It's okay to have a flawed character.
It's true to life, right?
Yeah, exactly. Some men are going to be sexist, and those guys say some things that are. I haven't ever felt like the women are weaker. Any of the women are weaker characters. You know what I mean? Or like oh, these dumb ladies. You know, at any point on this show.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Sorry,
I agree with you. I think that's right. I think that's right on.
Yeah. All right. We do want to welcome some new Patreon subscribers for the weekend, guys. So Christopher Hawkins, Cosmic Slice, Bilal Shake, Sardonica 61, Louisa Fernandez, Danny, Jenny Marks, Geraldine Camoin, I think, and Rahul Palnitkar. Welcome, guys. Thank you for being here with us. We really do appreciate you.
We sure do. If you guys are watching us on YouTube for the first time, welcome to our channel.
Hello.
If you don't mind, hit the like button for us. Leave us a comment down below, and please hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on the new content we've coming your way.
Yeah. If you'd like to see a full-length reaction to this and everything else we're watching, including about 50 other episodes thus far of The West Wing,
That's a lot.
Please check out the link in the description below to our Patreon page.
Oh, yeah.
Over there, for our Patreon subscribers, we're 4 or 5 episodes ahead of The West Wing. So if you want to get kind of caught up to where we are in real time, Patreon is a good way to go. You'll have to sync and watch along on your own materials. We, of course, are watching on Max.
Yeah.
CJ, do you know anything about the president being sued?
Starting with CJ again.
Yeah.
Sued?
I thought it was illegal to sue a
Rocky Mountain
president.
Herald.
About the president being sued?
Unless this person was making it up.
Have you set up a meeting for me?
Yes.
With the veterans group?
Yes.
The one that's talking about not coming?
3 months ago at a fundraiser, the president was asked about airbags. A couple at the fundraiser got into an accident. He wasn't wearing a seatbelt. He died. She sued him for contributory negligence.
You can't sue the president.
I'm supposed to speak at the opening of an exhibit marking the 60th anniversary of Pearl Harbor. Every time we make one of these deals with a place like Kumar, I feel the women around here look at me funny.
We're talking about arms deals and military bases?
Yeah, okay.
I saw something about leasing.
CJ's going to be cool with this, right?
Well, I mean, the United States sells weapons to other countries all the time. You just have to, and sometimes they end up not being friends later. And it's like, well, we're fighting the weapons we sold them.
It's so taboo. They brought it up in that Star Wars movie.
They did, that's right, yeah.
I got a letter from Amy Gardner.
Yeah, I was CC'd on that letter.
She seems pretty irate.
Amy Gardner's always irate about something. Due respect, I
Unreal.
think they're overreacting. We're talking about one word.
Really?
Isn't this one
That's
word
all
that
they mean.
dramatically alters the effectiveness of the treaty? That unless the UN removes the word forced, it's going to be difficult to prosecute at all.
A herd of cattle in Ogallala, Nebraska was accidentally given banned feed and quarantined 18 months ago.
Tissue was sent to the
Mad cow
NBSL in
disease.
Ames, Iowa for the first round of tests.
The first round of Iowa tissue showed a presumptive positive.
Mad cow?
We don't know that.
You better be briefed on the arms sale to Kumar caused the Pentagon leaked it.
It's on sale. Okay.
Kumar,
Yeah.
in the Gulf.
Is there another one?
No. We leased an airbase in Kumar.
Oh, when did we make an arms deal with Kumar?
I really don't know. What does it matter?
What does it matter?
Yeah.
What are we selling?
That's not local.
It's federal. There's the couple suing
No, see,
for
that's why I think
repayment
you
of all
can't,
back
because it's
taxes
always something
ever,
crazy like
because
this, yeah.
taxes are unconstitutional. You think murder's going to overtake education and healthcare on the campaign trail?
No, you're right, because healthcare and education are much sexier.
Yeah.
Though we come out right now for a national seatbelt law.
Wait, better yet. Why doesn't he set up his own checkpoint on I-95?
Modern history is another name for television.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way I can help?
He's such a snob.
I'm a
It's
master
great.
of modern history. You can ask me anything.
This moment, we're waiting to hear from the UK on confirmation of a test for mad cow.
Do we say anything in the meantime?
That's my question. That's why you're here.
I think we have to.
The second we say positive, beef futures collapse, and we lose $3.6 billion in beef exports. Fast food is deserted. Supermarkets pull beef.
I don't know how many more times we can get caught keeping a secret.
Sometimes that's what we're supposed to do.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Not for nothing, but 3 weeks ago, a woman in Kumar was executed for adultery. She didn't need a lawyer because there wasn't any trial. It was her husband's word against hers.
I used to think of Toby as kind of the moral center of the administration, but now more lately it's more CJ. I feel like, yeah.
You know, every time you write a letter to the First Lady, she gets into gear because she feels guilty that she's not doing enough for women.
Yes. What about someone who answers an ad for an au pair and ends up working a 15-hour shift in a whorehouse where they're held hostage? And
that happens a lot.
Yeah. That's not the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
You guys are about to go to Vienna and make it harder, so yeah, I dropped the First Lady a note.
Yeah.
So they don't sign the treaty.
The more countries who sign a treaty, the more effective it is.
The more toothless a treaty is, the more toothless it is.
They'll tell you they're troubled by the commentary on the propaganda posters.
These were fear-inspiring posters. They were incredibly racist.
And you say so in the commentary.
In so many words?
Yeah. What?
That leaving the word forced in the treaty condones consensual.
That's ridiculous.
I'm saying it could be spun that way.
There was a presumptive positive on some cattle in Nebraska.
What does that mean?
We have to wait 72 hours for a test. She'll generally get beaten by her husband and sons as a punishment, so at some point we should talk about how to spend the $1.5 billion they're giving us.
We find the source of the problem, which will be the feed. We buy the cattle and slaughter them.
How many?
Tens of thousands. Nobody's gonna buy beef for a couple of years.
It's a $150 billion industry. What's the West gonna do for a living?
Once we announce a positive, steakhouses are done. Fast food is done.
And then the corn and soybean growers, right? The most costly disruptions
Yeah.
always happen when something we take completely for granted stops working for a minute.
That's very true. The pandemic taught us that hard.
Yeah. How fragile it really is, you know?
People buying up toilet paper like psychopaths when there was never a toilet paper shortage.
That was the weirdest part.
It was dumb.
I wanted to float the idea of a national seatbelt law. What's the Democratic leadership going to say?
They're going to say no.
The governors don't like it. It's federalism run amok.
The governors don't have a vote in Congress.
But the congressmen do, and they're not going to vote for it either.
Why should what you do be against the law?
Well, in this country, you're not allowed to buy and sell people.
You're not selling yourself. You're renting out your body.
You're not allowed to do that either.
He's been in a wheelchair because he lost his left leg. And the wheelchair is falling apart. And Medicaid is dragging his feet on this.
Leave me his information on a piece of paper. I can make a phone call for you.
A marshal told Truman that a ground offensive would take the lives of at least 250,000.
Well, you need anything?
I just came by to listen. Imagine if you weren't as successful as you were. Now, it's 6 decades later, and while they didn't conquer Europe, the Nazis exist as a recognized government in some small corner of the European Union. I was announcing that we were selling tanks, missiles, and fighter jets to the Nazis.
This is way offline. I see your point, but that wasn't the group of people to make it to.
I think we need to come out for a strong national seatbelt law.
Congress won't pass it.
I'm not saying we need to have the law. I'm just saying we need to come out for it.
I don't blame this woman for suing me. I'm not a king, and I'm not sure the law should treat me like one. She's got to go someplace with her grief and her anger. The ones who should be horsewhipped with a horsewhip are the ones exploiting her grief for political gain. And when do you tell the public what you know?
I think it's right now.
And I think it's when you know something. I think absolute confirmation has to be the rule when we're talking about public panic. The everyday American things, the 99-cent things, that when you suddenly have to be afraid of them, strike at the center of our equilibrium.
Then pretend for a moment the cow has MS.
No, I don't think I will.
That the public will not forgive a president who withheld information that could have helped them or saved lives.
Come from Health and Human Services.
Not the secretary, mid-level.
All right, that's what we'll do then. You know, after the Civil War, veterans had to come to D.C. to get their pensions. Do you know what the papers were bound with?
No.
Red tape. That's where it comes from.
I didn't know.
But the man just wanted a wheelchair. Toby's trying to get him a wheelchair.
I forgot.
Yes.
Hey, I forgot us all. Get the information from Toby. I'll make the call myself.
How am I not supposed to call you a hypocrite when you say that the government shouldn't tell women what to do with their bodies?
That's the tough issue, right? Yeah.
I guess. Are you dating Joey Lucas?
No.
Just not your assistant.
I know.
Aren't you dating Joey Lucas?
Yeah, honestly. Well, workaholics, that's why.
Oh, right, yeah. And she lives in California, yeah. Or is she going to be like a Joey that kind of is in and out?
I think more like a Joey.
I mean,
whoa. The hell? Dude, 15 years old? You almost hit me in the head.
That's definitely flirting.
Yeah.
We need Khalifa Air Base. We refuel there, and we
see. This is the other
AWACS
side
radar.
of that. I mean, she's right.
CJ.
We don't need it. They beat women, Nancy. They hate women. The only reason they keep Kumari women alive is to make more Kumari men. But how are we supposed to have any moral credibility when we talk about gun control and making sure the guns don't get in the hands of the wrong people? Is that apartheid was an East Hampton clam bake compared to what we laughingly refer to as the life these women lead.
And I'm doing the best I can.
They're beating the women, Nancy.
I'm really glad they had her talk to her instead of some guy mansplaining the you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
the realities of an ugly world.
We can get into this in a second, but it's
such a tough issue.
complicated thing to talk about.
It is. They had a couple of complicated things here.
Good evening. We have 2 birthdays today, so we have cake. The DoD will be announcing that we've renewed our lease another 10 years at the Khalifa Air Base in Kumar. I understand they've promised to paint and add new carpet.
She did her job. She didn't want to, but she did her job. Another really, really good CJ episode.
Yeah, we're right now.
Yeah, we really are.
Okay, so as far as that goes, I'm not an expert.
I'm not either. It's such a tough issue.
But from my understanding, it's like a cultural thing, and also like I think it's part of a religion. You know?
Yeah.
So it's. And I'm not saying that everybody that believes in that subscribes that religion is that way. I'm not generalizing
of course
anybody,
not. Right.
But it's definitely an issue even to this day. I'm sure.
Yeah, state-sanctioned human rights violations is what it really is, and it's tough because there are as Nancy said there are the realities of the world.
Yeah.
That mean that sometimes you have to look away. The interesting thing is, I don't know if I was thinking about this during the episode, in the Isaac and Ishmael episode, the season 3 premiere, it was CJ who said that sometimes we're going to need to be chummy to fight the war on terror.
Yeah,
we're going to need to be chummy with countries we'd rather, lesser of evils, countries we'd rather not be chummy with to get this stuff done, to win that particular war.
So a lot of you guys have said that like they don't watch Isaac and Ishmael first, and I wonder if that plays into it a little bit too.
It's possible, but it did seem interesting that Steve's position is
changed.
Well, it's not that it's changed, but it's different when it comes to this particular issue, right? And it's like when we're fighting the war on terror, sometimes you have to be friends with bad people to fight worse people. The argument,
lesser of two evils,
right, absolutely. The very funny speech from Team America, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
That we can't repeat because all 3 words are obscene.
Yeah, they are.
But
great speech.
But yeah, but here she's the one that she wants to kind of draw the line. And the thing is this episode, you're right. You mentioned it as we were watching. It's a minefield because they're all such tough issues.
All the topics. Yeah.
I don't know where to come down on these human rights violations versus treaties because out of necessity, right?
Yeah.
Because these are terrible people in these countries, and sometimes these terrible people, you have to work with them. I don't know where to come on the prostitution thing, force versus legalizing.
This is one of the
there were great arguments on both sides on both of those issues. I don't have a position.
So looking at it. So it's going to be tough talking about this on YouTube because we don't want to get monetized for saying a certain phrase or word. Okay, so in 2023, right, obviously it's generally more accepted.
Right.
But I do see all the points that Mary Louise Parker's character is making there. It is degrading. And I feel like it is degrading, and there's a certain, if certain women and people have the mindset of, it's my job, I take pride in what I do, and I'm out here trying to make money. Fantastic.
And that's the thing. That's what makes it tough, right? Is I don't think, I think it's a case by case basis on the person.
And also now I feel like it's more like people selling pictures and stuff.
Yeah, it's
not like a in person kind of thing.
It's a really tough issue, and everyone's gonna, it's a spectrum, right?
Sure.
Of where everybody is on the belief system on it. Yeah. I'm somewhere in the middle. I get all the arguments for, and I get all the arguments against, and I don't have a strong position on it simply because everyone views it differently, right?
Yeah,
one person in the trade versus another person in the trade.
Sure.
Have different experiences and come into it in different ways, and having a blanket opinion over it is tough.
It's not something that I would do,
right?
But I'm also pro mind my own business.
Yes, I know.
You know what I mean? So if it's something that somebody else wants to do or partake in, that's your business. It's not mine. And however, if it's forceful, like I said, if it's human trafficking, then it should be everybody's business, and we should hold these people accountable. That's a different story.
Yeah, I agree. I think if it does kind of come down to where do you come down in position, I think the only thing I can really say is what it has to be is
consenting.
What is the least harm for everybody involved.
If
What
it's
is the least?
consenting adults, mind your business.
What is the least amount of harm that is done to people? If anybody is forced in any way, and Louise Parker was right. Sometimes economic circumstances is forcing. So there's so much gray area. I don't want to, like I said, I'm not trying to proselytize on it. I don't know the answer to this really, really complex issue. Like I said, in different parts of the world, with different groups of people, with different individual people, it's different.
Two white guys on a couch.
In the middle of America. Obviously, there are mountains of horror stories, mountains of them. That I don't want to come down flippantly on any of those and insensitively. Because it's a tough issue. And I think that was the point of the episode. I think that's what made this episode really work and made it kind of uncomfortable. Is everybody's coming in with these issues and everyone's got a legitimately good point. These are some really muddy waters.
Well, even it's muddy waters with all the topics, even with the veterans.
With the veterans, right?
I mean, because the propaganda we were spewing back then was very racist.
It was terrible,
extremely racist.
But so when you're remembering it for historical purposes, like the dedication, do you whitewash it? You know what I mean? Do you hide it, which is what some people wanted, or do you put it out there? With Oppenheimer being out this year, that whole topic of was the nuclear bomb a good thing or a bad thing at the time, and the answer is, at the time, it was a good thing, and revisionist history says it's a bad thing, and neither side is terribly right or terribly wrong.
Spoilers for the movie Oppenheimer, which, if you haven't seen it, I think people have seen it. It's made almost $1 billion, so most of you have seen it. I think they answer that in the movie. I think that it was a bad thing. They even said that the war was practically won by the time they dropped it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I understand the need for it. At the time,
it did save American lives.
It saved a lot of lives.
You can debate about how many, but it did save American lives. It was civilians. I don't know. We're kind of wandering into like political topics and not really just looking at the show. But
well, in terms of the show, okay, let's say, do you show the stuff? Do you show the propaganda? I think you don't shy away from something. You don't whitewash it. However,
call it what it is.
Call it what it is.
Yeah, it's racist propaganda.
We have to acknowledge both sides. I mean, if you look at it, Japan is not our enemy anymore. Germany is not our enemy anymore. And we should be able to look back at the lives lost. Nazis are Nazis, so we don't have to look back with reverence for them at all. However,
there's no reference there, right? Well, the Empire was pretty awful too.
They were.
They were doing horrible things to Chinese people. They were.
Nanking, like that
right.
Was, so
they were.
But still, the country itself is our ally now, so we don't put that propaganda out there and be like, look at all this greatness that we achieve as Americans. I mean, we had the Japanese camps in
we had internment camps. We were terrible.
Camps. So
in our own special way, we were pretty freaking awful.
We should be able to look at ourselves in the mirror, and be like, there was a lot of brave men, a lot of lives lost, but this is what this was.
No, I agree. It's just, this was a great episode with an A, B, and a C storyline, and all three of them were like, well, and what makes the show so brilliant is this is an episode of where like it really makes you think about what you believe on these topics. Are you informed? Is your everyone's got an opinion on these topics, right? Because they're pretty straight out there, straightforward. None of them are hidden. And the question is, have you really thought about it? Have you really thought about that there is some gray area here? Because there is. On all three of them, there's a lot of gray area on what you do and how you handle and how you think about these things. And I don't have all the answers, so please don't hate message us, because I'm not taking a strong position other than to say that these are some really, really tough issues.
We are doing our best.
All right. It was exceptional writing and execution. Once again, we got to see that Allison Janney is a national treasure as an actress.
We didn't plan the whole open monologue about discussing Aaron Sorkin writing women, and it just kind of worked out that way, where we had one of the strongest written episodes of the series.
Yeah, it revolves around women. Because we were just thinking about how good Allison Janney has been as a featured actress this season.
Yeah,
and how good actually Donna and the First Lady have been. Like all three of them have been powerhouses.
I think it really peaks out in this episode, especially for Allison Janney.
She crushed it. I hope this was an Emmy-winning episode.
Me too.
All right, we'll catch you in the next one, guys.